Next on the Broadway Show, it's a collaboration between two huge stars. Paul Bettany and Jeremy Pope are on the show to talk about bringing the collaboration to Broadway. Plus, extra innings, I'm catching up with the Tony-nominated superstar of Take Me Out, Jesse Williams. And we're also on the red carpet for another star-studded opening night on Broadway. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is the Broadway Show. It's all about the best and brightest of Broadway each and every week here on the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Thanks for being with us. It's the Broadway premiere of a London smash hit. The collaboration stars Paul Bettany and Jeremy Pope, playing two of the giants in modern art history. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
That's right, Tamsen. Paul Bettany and Jeremy Pope are going toe-to-toe as Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat in the collaboration. We sat down to talk about their art imitating life. These two men came together. They both were at very different places in their career. Can you talk a little bit about sort of what they got out of each other?
Ultimately, what our play is exploring is just these two, people who on the surface feel very different. When you look at their art, it's kind of like night and day. They collaborated. They found this time together to see each other, and I think kind of fall in love artistically, emotionally is what happened. I think for Basquiat was a bit unexpected, but he admired Warhol for who he was and what he did. We're meeting them at a time where Warhol is existing as one thing and Basquiat is kind of on the rise as this neo-expressionist artist. And we kind of see how the art landscape is changing and what that means for Warhol and what that means for Basquiat. And they found each other and they found a friendship and companionship that outlived, I think, their art.
Paul, you were wary, I read, to take on playing Andy Warhol. His mannerisms, his physical appearance, it's very specific. He seems otherworldly in some ways, the way, the physical presence of Andy Warhol. What was it like to take him on?
Dennis O'Sullivan, producer, who's an old mate of mine, called me up and said, would you like to play Andy Warhol? And I went, absolutely not. I just felt like it's very difficult to get out from underneath all of that carefully curated monosyllabic public persona that he had. He sent me the diaries. He speaks in these long circuitous sentences, and so I started talking to some people that knew him, like Candice Bergen and Anna Wintour, and they said, yeah, he was very verbose in private and quite free with himself. And so I went, oh, because the diaries read a lot more like Truman Capote than they do your idea of Andy Warhol. And so I thought maybe there was a way in.
What do you think of the actual art when you see? There are lovers and haters of it.
I found it incredibly moving, and I did not understand, I didn't know that it had been a total flop when it was first mounted. But this is a blip. I mean, you can't get one for under $90 million now. Right, and I think it was an incredibly successful collaboration. Right. And it's very much kind of what the play is about. Two people with seemingly nothing in common, finding common ground. And right. You really find, I think you feel that in their works together. I found them very moving.
Right, same. I think it's beautiful to kind of see the world still unpacking the Andy and unpacking the Basquiat. May their art live forever.
Want to see more of Paul's interview? Head over to Broadway.com for an extended version. Game On is the Broadway revival of Take Me Out, starring Tony winner Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Tony nominee Jesse Williams. It's a story of America's favorite pastime and just what happens when one of the game's top stars comes out as gay. I had a chance to catch up with Jesse Williams. Well, I want to jump in because you've had quite the run, right? We were just talking earlier, and you really didn't have an intention of Broadway or acting in general.
No, I hadn't really considered it until I was in film school. Film was one of my majors at Temple University, and in making student films and shooting them and directing them and writing them, after a couple kind of projects, I kind of realized, acting is also really a significant part of the storytelling process. And I liked it. I felt like I was good at it, and it was fun, and it was a way to be really creative, and I just kind of started checking that out too while I was working at law firms and waiting tables and bartending here in New York.
So Grey's Anatomy, you had a long run there.
I certainly did.
And Broadway now, how different is that?
Acting on TV or film or stage, they certainly do complement each other, but I really, now having been a year into this, I kind of tend to say they're different sports. On stage is a entirely different use of the mind, body, and soul for me, but they certainly do inform each other. And it's kind of fascinating how being on a bare stage on a stool, just like this, we actually have a scene in Take Me Out where me and Brandon Durden's character are just talking on stools on a bare stage, and that can feel more real and compelling than being on location in a swamp in some film. That's you're in all real scenarios, but because we're living the whole thing and it's full life together and we have to complete it. I say it's kind of like acting with a gun to your head. You have to complete this mission together right now. You don't get another take, you don't get another crack at it. So it's a different animal.
It's so interesting because you have such a basis of comparison versus having just done,
Right.
started Broadway and not having done anything else. What have you learned about yourself with regard to this role, this cast, this conversation that this show brings?
It's a great question. One of the things that comes to mind when you say, what have I learned about myself doing this? It has been a great confirmation of the reward and the satisfaction and the joy that can be derived from pushing yourself to jump off a cliff. Like, it was a risk. There's a lot of ways this could have gone badly, and it's totally unknown to me, and I came out of a very safe situation in every way to do this thing that is absolutely raw and risky, and it's all this, the sweeter to find some success and find some comfort and find a new community out of it. So risk-taking and believing in yourself and not following the advice of others and just kind of trusting your gut, kind of a return to home. And I'm a very cerebral, logical, strategic person, and it's nice to kind of return to the other part of myself and just kind of go with how I feel.
Talk about the nudity on stage, because I know that's part of it, and I know there's got to be some kind of comfort level that you get to with that. Was that a difficult part of the show, or was it?
It really wasn't. It's really not. It's part of, I'm serving the story.
Yeah.
I'm serving the character, and we're being the character's honest selves in those times. It's not that scene doesn't stand out to me as a top 5 scene that I focus energy on trying to form and shape.
Because you're in the moment.
Yeah, because it's real. Because I'm telling the truth up there. We're not. There's not much false about it. That's part of that freedom through really exploring and trusting your collaborators.
It's another must-see show and another star-studded opening night on Broadway. Some Like It Hot, now officially sizzling on Broadway. The brand new musical adaptation of Billy Wilder's classic film just celebrated opening night.
Expect to go on a beautiful journey told through a classic Broadway musical type way. Expect to go on the train ride, let me say that.
Cast is incredible. They are. I mean, I've known Christian for so long. We did Spamalot together. We did Something Rotten together. Jay I've just met, but who is just... my heart just fills up when I think about him, seriously. Yeah, he just moves me so much. And Adriana's new to me, and she's fantastic. So it's just a lot of friendly faces and people who are so talented.
Casey has been so supportive and loving and trusting, and that's the thing I'm grateful to him as a director, of trusting me to let me be me, to come in the room as my authentic self, and to let that find its way into the show without trying, without bashing anyone over the head with anything, and allowing that to infuse the work that we're doing. And that trust and that support has been, oh God, I'm gonna get emotional myself thinking about it, has been overwhelming and delightful. It really has been.
And 6-time Tony Award winner Audra McDonald is back on Broadway in the long-awaited production of Ohio State Murders. It's the first production at the newly renamed James Earl Jones Theater and the Broadway debut of 91-year-old playwright Audrienne Kennedy. Ohio State Murders also just celebrated opening night. Comedian and Tony nominee Eddie Izzard returns to the New York stage this month, playing 21 characters in the solo production of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations.
Great to be back in New York. Dickens was performing his own his own work here. I mean, he used to do extracts from his work. So he was here 155 years ago, and I'm here now, and trans woman playing these characters. I think Dickens would have liked it. I think it's kind of right up New York Street. And it's 20 hours a book, cutting down to 2 hours. So it's about a 90% cut, but it still works. It's got to be voice and physicality. Those are the two things you can do to get an Estella who's different to a Magwitch. A Magwitch kind of like a monster villain initially, and then an Estella, an ice queen, who's knows she's pretty and knows she can destroy boys' hearts, men's hearts, and Miss Havisham is very happy because that's what she wants in a young adopted girl. I'm very excited. It's just to be in New York. It's a very much a home gig for myself, and Dickens was here 150 years ago, and I think that's kind of beautiful, and it's Christmas time, and the whole of Great Expectations starts at Christmas. Yeah, it's good to get it going.
A whole lot more coming up next on The Broadway Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Krysta Rodriguez, and here's 5 things you don't know about me. I have an entire head of gray hair. During the pandemic, it was a real show. I have been to almost every continent. I have been to Antarctica. I have not been to Australia. I am in the process of becoming a Portuguese citizen. During the pandemic, I started an interior design business. You can find the information about it on my website, curatedbykr.com. The 5th thing people may not know about me is that you're my bestest friend in the whole world.
Oh my God.
Yay! It's you.
Hi, everybody.
Please come see me in the collaboration at MTC at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater, so please check it out.
All hail the new Queens of Six the Musical. You gotta respect the royalty of this pop concert extravaganza. In this past week, 6 brand new queens took their first bows in the Tony Award-winning production. They are Broadway stars and their besties. Tony winner Matt Doyle and Bonnie Milligan. He's in Little Shop of Horrors. She's in Kimberly Akimbo. Let's check back in with Paul Wontorek.
So here we are,
Yes.
Matt and Bonnie. So good to see you both.
Hi.
And look, we're in Times Square. This is where you work, Broadway.
It's our favorite place to be. I do remember, though, when I was like 15 years old, driving through here and calling my best friend in California and being like, I just drove by Aida. You know, like just freaking out.
Yes.
And now to be able to say that we actually are part of this and that we work here is really overwhelming. I try to remind myself of that every time that, you know, like somebody throws you over into the street.
Lord.
You're right down on 45th Street, the Booth Theater, Kimberly Akimbo, the Acclaimed.
right there.
So you're on 45th Street, and on that same block, you were in Company, won a Tony Award on that. That's a good block for you, too.
It's a great block. It's a great
We love
block.
45th Street.
Love 45th Street.
And Matt, you're off Broadway, but you're
I'm
just
off Broadway,
you're
but
in the
very
Broadway
close.
district. You're in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, we
playing
consider
Seymour.
it Broadway light.
You two are actually really good friends, which is why we brought you together. I wanted to dig into that a little bit. But also, I wanted to, you know, there's like some holiday shopping in Times Square. So like, let's head up and sit down and chat a little bit. Cool.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, let's walk this way. When you're performers in the city, people come in and out of your life and you do shows, and sometimes it's just a one-day reading and sometimes it's a one-year run, and there's all sorts of relationships. But what do you think made you two gel? Because you're real friends.
We are real friends.
Yes. It's a difficult business. There's a lot of competition between people. There's a lot of creating a family and then losing a family, and that's a very strange part about this. And there's just a few along the way that you really, really, really get attached to the point that carries through to your day-to-day life. And Bonnie and I think, just immediately connected on a much deeper level that went beyond the room. I know when Bonnie's going through something, and I don't even need to like ask her.
Fact.
Yeah.
Even sometimes she'll send a text, be like, well, how are we doing? I know. And I'm like, whoa, how did you? Like, it's like really like, are you surveilling me?
So what was it like watching Matt
Oh
win
my gosh.
on that crazy night in June?
So emotional. Oh, I might cry now. Like, we have been through so much together for so many years, and I've seen him work so hard. And I've seen him like take jobs that didn't pay as much because it stretched him as an actor. And he just wanted so desperately to show everything that's within him, which is so much. I couldn't be more proud. And also like everything, like, it's like, oh, thank God that like there's good in the world. Like we are awarding like this human, like that should be awarded.
And I know you've been waiting for Bonnie to have a moment like
Bonnie's
she's having right now.
The hardest worker I've ever met in my entire life. I know that we connect on that because we both are here because we love it more than anything. And now just to see her owning the stage right now and the entire community recognizing her worth and her power is there's nothing like it.
It's Christmas time in the city, the tree is up at Rockefeller Center, and of course the Rockettes are back again at Radio City.
Let's send it out to Perry Sook.
It's the most wonderful time of the year here in the Big Apple, and for me, as a New Yorker, Christmas doesn't start until I see the Rockettes at the Radio City Music Hall in the Christmas Spectacular. I'm so excited because today I'm getting a tour of the historic venue. Let's go. Hello!
Hi, welcome to Radio City.
Well, thank you guys for having me here. So we are here with two Rockettes of the current show this holiday season. Before we start talking about the show, can you guys just show me around this beautiful building?
Would love to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, it is just unbelievably beautiful. Here in the grand lobby on the ground floor. Tell me a little about all of the beautiful Christmas decorations we have here today.
Of course. So from the moment you walk into Radio City, you're met with this beautiful lobby dripping in Christmas. We have our beautiful Swarovski crystal chandelier that only hangs for Christmas. Throughout the entire theater, we are just immersed in Christmas from the moment you walk in the door to the moment you leave.
Which outfits particularly are these?
This is our New York at Christmas outfit. We actually also have a matching coat with this. We're either red or green. We have a double-decker bus that comes out on stage, and the Rockettes board the bus. We take a little tour through all of the Christmas scenes in New York City, and then we remove the coat to reveal our shiny dresses, red or green, and then it's this beautiful, like, full jazz production number. It's my personal favorite.
All right, we are up here on the mezzanine. Another beautiful, beautiful view of the chandelier here. Sparkles just like your earrings. Now, I do have to stop here at the merch stand because I see the wooden soldiers over here. In that Parade of the Wooden Soldiers number, what is it like doing that trust fall for the first time?
Every Rockette that's ever been a Rockette since 1933 here at the Music Hall has performed that number on stage. The fall itself is a really difficult and challenging bit of our choreography in the show, but it is the epitome of teamwork for us.
Now, how many shows are you guys doing a week?
One cast will do up to 4 shows per day, and we have 2 casts.
Oh, wow.
Because we do have shows 7 days a week, and no cast could physically do that on their own.
Yeah. Now, this is really a sight to see. This giant theater. I've been here for the Spectacular, I've been here for the Tonys, but I've never been here when it's empty.
There's no theater like this in the world. It seats 6,000 people. One of my favorite things to do is stand on stage when it's empty like this and just take it in.
What I really love during the show is all of these giant prosceniums are illuminated and used, and they're a part of the show. There's gonna be Santas on the roof. We were speaking about the Santa scene. That is you guys and the ensemble cast as well, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yep,
yeah.
Full team effort there. And it's really fun because in rehearsals we get to interact with each other. We get to work together on that number, and it's really one of the only numbers in our show where we get to like dance next to our ensemble castmates, which is really, really fun.
A new telling of Roald Dahl Matilda the Musical arrives on the big screen this month, and it'll hit Netflix Christmas Day. The musical movie stars Oscar winner Emma Thompson and 13-year-old Alicia Weir in the title role.
Let's send it back to Paul Wontorek.
I love this film so much. It is so fantastic, just beautifully brought to life on screen. It's so thrilling to see you do musicals. Is that something that you like to add onto your pretty impressive resume?
Yeah, I absolutely love doing musicals. I'm not a singer, but I'm an actor who can sing. So as long as it's a part like Trunchbull, where you can you can act it, then I feel safe.
So when you're working with a cast of young children, when you're so mean to them while the cameras are rolling, do you have to go out of your way to be like super sweet off camera?
No, because they don't believe me at all. Matthew Walters, our wonderful director, kept saying, will you please stop hugging the children? They just laughed at me afterwards. I'd be awful to them, and then we'd stop rolling and they'd just point at me and jeer. It was...
That's all for now. I'll see you next time. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is a Broadway Show.